Hey there! In this tutorial I will show you how you can create a dropdown and a progress bar using the Tkinter module in Python. Here is how the video will be structured. First, I will show you how to create an empty window, then adding the dropdown to this window, and adding some code so you can link an action to your dropdown. I need to do this so something actually happens when I select a dropdown option. This makes the application look more responsive. And next, I will show you how you can do the same for a progress bar. Here are the widgets that we are gonna be creating. Without further ado, let's get started. I will open idle and open a new file. And I will write the code for our GUI here. First, I will show you how you can create an empty window with Tkinter. I will import the library, and from that library I will be using the Tk class. Now I'm going to create a class called app that will inherit from the class Tk. That means our class has access to all the functionality to create a graphical interface. Let's create a constructor of our class. The constructor function is always called init in Python. And the first parameter is self. Self is a reference to the class and indicates to Python that the class method belongs to the class app. And now I will add the code to create the window. To do so, I will call the constructor of the parent class using super and the init method. And now I will resize the window to 200 by 200. You can resize it to anything you like. To do this, I will use the geometry method. Alright, we have defined the class and now we need to call this code. First, I will create a variable of the type app and then I will call the method main loop. This will leave the program open until someone closes the window. Let's run it and see if it works. Cool, it works. I have created an empty window, so let's see how I can add a drop-down to this window. First, I'm going to create a variable that will hold the drop-down value. I will call this variable gender selected and I will use the string bar class. And I'm going to give an initial value to the variable which will be selected gender. So this will be the test that the dropdown will display when nothing is selected. So I have created the variable, so I'm going to create the dropdown now. Tkinter provides the class option menu for creating a dropdown. And the constructor of this class will take a few parameters. The first parameter is the window that will contain the widget. The second parameter is the variable where the value selected will be saved. And the last one is a list with the different options of the dropdown. And now I need to call the grid method to place the dropdown inside the window. This is important. If I forgot to call this method, then the dropdown wouldn't be displayed. And that's all. I can run this code now and let's see, and I get an error. String bar not defined. That means I forgot to import the string bar class. So let's fix that and rerun. And there it is. I just created a dropdown. And the dropdown has two options. We have seen how to create the dropdown and now we are gonna make the GUI a bit more responsive. What I mean is that we are gonna change the GUI so something happens when you select a gender. What I will do is updating a label that will display the gender selected. This label will be updated every time you select a different option in the dropdown. Let's see how to do this. I will start by adding the label, and remember you need to import the label class. Then I will add the parameters. I need to pass first the window that will contain the label, and then the initial text. And next I will place the label inside the window, so in this case I will place it in the first row and first column. Every time the gender selected change, I want to do something. Since I store the gender in the variable gender selected, I'm going to use the method trace to link the variable with the function. This means every time the gender selected variable change, the callback function will be called or executed. My callback function is going to be called update label. This function is a member of the class app, and that's why I'm going to add the self at the beginning, before the function name. And now I will define the function. So I will say def, and then the function name, and then args, and that means the function will accept any list of parameters. At last, I will use the configure method to update the label text. To get the selected gender, we will call the get method of the gender selected variable. And that's all. Let's run this and see if it works. Oops, there is a syntax error. And that's because this line is missing a parenthesis. So let's run it again. There you go. There is a new label in the application, and when you select a different gender, the label gets updated. Awesome! Now let's see how we can add a progress bar. Let's start by removing all the code to do with the dropdown. So we are back to the empty window again. First, I will start by adding a label and the progress bar next to it. So I will use the class label, passing as parameters the window that will contain the label and the text that will be displayed inside. And then, using the grid method, I will indicate where in the window I want to place the label, as we have seen before. Now I will add the progress bar. The progress bar class belongs to a different sub-module inside the Tkinter. So let's import that. And now I'm gonna add the parameters. The parameters that this class need are the window that will contain the widget, then just like the other widgets, then the orientation, which in this case is gonna be horizontal, and the mode that can be determinate or undeterminate. So I'm going to use determinate in this case. So the last parameter is the maximum. This represents the value that the progress bar needs to reach for the progress bar to be full. So let's place the progress bar using the grid method, and let's run this and see if the progress bar actually shows up. And I get an error. So the issue is that there is a typo in one of the parameters name. So let's fix that and rerun. And also our application has a progress bar now. Let's see now how we can add some buttons and control the progress bar. So I'm gonna add 3 buttons. One to stop the progress bar, another one to get the progress bar moving, and another button that will just increment the progress bar every time I press it. So I'm going to use the button class with two parameters. The first parameter is the window that will contain the button, and next is the text that will go inside the button. And I will do the same thing for the other two buttons. And now we need to place these three buttons inside the window using the grid method as we have done before. Alright, so let's run this. And that works, and our application has the three buttons now. However, the start button is a bit too far away, so let's fix that. And next thing I need to do is to create a variable to control the progress bar. The variable is gonna be linked to the progress bar, meaning that if the value is 0, then the progress bar will be empty. If I increase this variable by 1, then the progress bar will grow a bit, and so on. The variable will be an int var, so I will import the class and then assign a value to the variable. And I will set it to 5, but you can set it to any value between 1 and 100. And now I need to link the progress bar with the variable. I can do that just by passing the variable as a parameter when I create the progress bar. Okay, so everything looks good. Now I need to link the buttons with a function, just like we did before, so something happens when I press the button. So when I press the stop button, I will call the function stop progress bar. When I press the start button, I will call the function start progress bar. And finally, when I click the increment, the program is gonna call the function increment progress bar. These functions are all methods of the class app, so that's why I'm using the self as a prefix for all of these functions. And now I will create the three functions. Just as I said before, the three of them are methods of the class app. Keep that in mind. Alright, so the first function is gonna be the stop bar. So here what I will do is just stopping the bar. Next I will define the start progress bar function. So here I will call the start method. And I will also call the step function to indicate how big the increments will be. So let's say 10 for this example. It could be 5 or it could be 4 or any number that you like between 1 and 100. And last function left to define is the increment progress bar. What I will do here is just incrementing the progress bar by 1. To do so, I will get the current value of the progress bar using the variable I have defined earlier and increment this value by 5. Alright, let's run this and see if it works. And I got the syntax error, and the reason for this is that I forgot to add the semicolon here. So let's fix that and rerun. Awesome! If I press the increment, the progress bar will move just by 5. If I click the star, the progress bar will continuously progress, and I can also stop it by pressing the stop button. Cool, so that's the end of the video. We saw how to add a drop down and a progress bar to Tkinter. I hope that you find the video useful, and if you did, feel free to click the subscribe button, just because it really helped me out with the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.